Something a little different for you today. 2 knives that I had intended on reviewing separately, until I saw how similar the lines are. Instead, we will be comparing the GiantMouse Ace Nazca to the Kansept Rei, so that you can decide which one would be your next Tactical EDC. Stick around, folks. What's up, Kripple Krew? EDC with DBD, disabled but deadly, and yes, we are going to be comparing these two premium knives today. And if you see these overall lines, I think you can see why I'm putting these two up against each other. Both designed to add a little bit of tactical flair to your EDC to make a self-defense knife a lot more utilitarian and comfortable. So we're going to kick it off with the Kansept Rei right after you make sure that you stab that like button, /subscribe, and bash that notification bell. So the Kansept Rei is a design by Greg W., also known as Karambit Maker. Typically, as the name implies, works in curved blades of karambit style knives, but he wanted something that still had a bit of that tactical use to it with a lot more utilitarian profile so that you would want to carry it. We have an overall length of 7.49 inches compared to an overall length of 7.48 on the Ace Nazca. Our blade length on the Kansept Rei is 3.24 inches with a cutting edge of 3.19 inches. We have a closed length of 4.25 inches, a blade stock thickness of 118 thousandths, and an overall weight of 3 ounces. This is a titanium frame lock with a CPM 20 CV blade. This one has a beautiful stonewash finish. And both of these blades are a bit of a harpooned clip point blade. You have a little bit of a thumb ramp right here at the base of the blade with some jimping that locks you in well. And then you've also got this dip on the top of the blade if you wanted to get a little bit more control into some cuts. There's 4 different finishes, including one with a Damascus scales. This one here has the orange peel texture that I'm really hoping is coming across on camera right now, and a beautiful bronze anodized finish that lends to several different colors as it picks up the oils from your hand and ages with you, and wears on this anodization. I did clean it with some alcohol before this to bring the colors out, and that was when I set these side by side and saw the similarities. Ergonomically, our handle curves very nicely in the palm, and I wear an extra large size glove. I have plenty of room behind that pivot. You do also have this area here for a pinky that allows you to either choke back for some reach or would allow for like a 2XL, even a 3XL size hand on this handle. We are on caged ceramic ball bearings operated by either the dual-sided thumb studs or the flipper tab, and this flipper tab makes this knife feel like it's assisted. The way it rockets out every single time, whether you light switch it or push button it, it honestly feels assisted. The detent is tuned phenomenally on this. The dimpling in the scales we do have internally milled titanium scales to reduce the weight. The dimpling, it does, you can kind of feel it in your hands. It's more for aesthetics. I will say I like it a lot better than speed holes. It doesn't bother me at all having that dimpling on there. We do have a milled titanium pocket clip that looks very good. I love the texture on this pocket clip. And it is reversible. So, whoops, that was my fault. This knife is lefty friendly. And let's see if of course the pocket clip wouldn't be there if I was doing this left-handed. I was going to try to reverse flick it left-handed, but that pocket clip wouldn't be there, so it doesn't matter. The blade shape, as I mentioned before, he deals in tactical knives. And as you can see, this blade shape is made for piercing and slashing. And it's going to do that job phenomenally well. We have a very pokey tip thanks to this wedge coming down right here. We do have a nice flat area and then a fair bit of belly. It's pretty easy to get that tip down onto a flat surface if you're doing any utility type cuts, because it is below the center line of the pivot. You can kind of use that little bit of belly on a flat surface, but you run into the flipper tab pretty easily. Both of these knives are made specifically for a couple of different grips. Whether you're in a hammer grip here, a saber grip, or out here, you're going to be very comfortable. It's, it's not uncomfortable to turn around and cut straps. I guess I said that, and then I'm messing with this more and remembering that no, this one does not lock you into, well, it definitely prefers a beef jerky Avenger grip. The way that the curvature works on this, I am capped off. And this is blocking me from being able to slide up onto that blade, even if there's any beef jerky juice on that titanium. Here, it's definitely not quite as comfortable, but you can rock it in a beef jerky Defender grip as well. But whether you are in the reverse grip here or here, you're going to be so comfortable and locked in. It's a very nice ergonomic design. And we're going to compare the numbers with the Ace Nazca here. And the Nazca by Jin Sanso and Jesper Voxnes over at GiantMouse is named after the Nazca lines in the Peruvian desert. Lines that were created between 500 AD or BC and 500 AD in the desert by humans. If you check them out online, the Nazca lines are pretty cool. And I see why they use that name for this knife. It fits it very well with these definitely distinct lines going on here. The overall length, like I said before, is 7.48 inches with a blade length of 3.15 inches and a closed length of 4.33 inches. We have a blade stock thickness of 138 thousandths, so we are slightly thicker than the Kansept Rei, though we do have a taller grind. And this comes in right at 4 ounces. So just slightly heavier, even though it's a fair amount wider. The weight, a lot of the weight is coming from this brass backspacer back here. That definitely adds a very comfortable heft to this. 4 ounces is not heavy, but it feels great on this knife, especially with these wider contoured carbon fiber scales. I'm going to close these and just show, also, before I close them, let's finish talking about this. we have again a harpoon clip point blade. And instead of CPM 20 CV, this time we are rocking CPM MagnaCut. So, the MagnaCut overall, both of these are super steels. The MagnaCut will be a little more corrosion resistance and definitely a little tougher, while the 20 CV should hold an edge a little bit longer. Not a big difference, but a little bit longer. We are again operated on caged ceramic ball bearings, and we have reversible thumb studs and a crossbar lock this time instead of a frame lock. And some of the best crossbar lock action I have felt on any knife. The tension is perfect, and it feels like I have a real detent when I launch that blade. Instead of titanium scales, we have steel liners that are skeletonized for the weight reduction, and carbon fiber scales milled out of a solid piece of carbon fiber. These are not laminate. We again have a reversible pocket clip. Again, not quite deep carry, even though we have a wire clip this time. And I want to check the width real quick. Let's see. Yes, a standard Spyderco wire replacement clip should fit this if Lynch from Lynch Northwest. If Lynch Northwest doesn't already list this as on their site for titanium replacement clips. Closed profile on these. Again, very similar looking even in the closed profile, at least to me, though the flipper tab does stick out quite a bit on that Kansept Rei. The Kansept though is going to be a much thinner package in your pocket compared to the Nazca. The Nazca is a chunky boy, but that extra width, it just feels good. So we've got one manufactured by Bestech and one manufactured by Kansept. The frame lock on this, we do have a hardened steel insert so that there is 0 button stick, and the detent is tuned very well. It does drop close. We are perfectly centered, as we are on the Ace Nazca. Let's look at the sharpening choil and plunge grind, and then we'll do a hardware check. Our plunge grind on the Rei starts here and ends here, so you have all this life to sharpen off of that 20 CV. Pardon me. Apologize before you would need to, or before you choose to put in your own sharpening choil. And this is running with internal stop pins, so there's no worries about cutting your own in. We have a non-captive T8. That's pretty loose in there. That feels like a T10 pivot. No, that is a T8. Yeah, that's definitely a T8. And then we are T6s on the body screws, T6s on the pocket screws. So a lot of T6 on the Kansept Rei. Let's check the Ace Nazca. First we'll check the sharpening choil and plunge grind. Our plunge grind starts here and ends right here. So the way this blade is cut, you have all of this sharpening life here. And this MagnaCut holds an edge for a good long time. So you're going to get a lot of sharpening life out of that. And the stop pin is placed in such a way that you could enlarge that and get even more life out of it. We have a captive pivot this time, which I prefer, of T8 screws. And then we have, looks like once again, T6 body screws and pocket clip screws. So hardware very similar. The only difference is captive pivot on the Ace Nazca. The Nazca, with my extra large glove size hands, I still have a bit of room here behind my pinky, so a 2x or possibly even a 3x could fit. The way these lines are feels made for my hand. It's like putting in a glove, put my hand in a good, comfortable glove. And in a saber grip or a hammer grip, it just feels natural. And then you throw your thumb up to that jimping on that harpoon there, and that's where it feels like, with these wider contoured scales, I could work all day with this knife without my hands cramping up. That contouring, the way it fits my hand, it just feels right. Turn it around, cut some straps. You can do it. It's not the most comfortable. You got a lot more belly on this, so you'd have to make sure you didn't slip out. We still have a low tip on that clip point, so it's still very easy to get that tip down. However, we have more belly and you can get all of it down onto a flat surface. In a beef jerky Avenger grip, I am capped off and pretty locked in with that pocket clip. I'm not going anywhere. Same again in a beef jerky Defender grip. Still very comfortable with that. Those wide scales, they just fill your hand out. So both are knives that are going to be very useful for a lot of EDC tasks, while still giving you a nice bulky tip and a good slashing blade for a beef jerky defense scenario. Now, let's talk about the main difference between these. So this is the newest version of the Nazca. It's on pre-order some places. As of making this video, D&K Knives, shout out to Dawn, had one more of these in stock, and code DBD10 saves you 10%. They're listed everywhere at $265. Well, I did see like one place actually had a pre-order for $289, but they're $265. And if you use that code DBD10, you take 26 bucks off. You get this for less than 240 bucks. MagnaCut, these ergos, that's a killer deal. Now, the price on the Kansept is definitely better. The most expensive version of this with the Damascus is $189, whereas this with the orange peel and the bronze anno is only $169. So for $169, you get very similar lines and ergos. A steel that really, 20 CV, MagnaCut, you could take your pick. Yeah, some people have a preference between the two. I don't. But you're saving, even from the discounted price, $80 on the Kansept Rei. And if you really like this shape and this look, Tenable, Kansept's budget brand, makes a budget version, a liner lock, with micarta scales, one of which still has the dimples, and 14C 28N for only 56 bucks. That's a stupid deal, because that one's going to be even more comfortable than this with that micarta. I do really like the Rei a lot more than I thought I was going to. Personally, I prefer the Ace Nazca because of the wider scales. For my hands specifically with nerve damage and arthritis, This is one of the best ergonomic feelings I have yet to feel on a crossbar lock, any crossbar lock knife. Action and ergos, this definitely beats them. Now, it's also one of the most expensive crossbar lock knives I've handled. But this is one of those knives that you would definitely carry and use every day. It comes down to budget and a personal preference between crossbar lock or frame lock. I know a lot of you out there prefer frame locks. You like that old school feel and the knowledge of strengthening the lock every time you squeeze the handle. Plus, the true detent. I know not everybody is a crossbar lock fan, but I also know there's a lot of you out there that are like me and prefer finger-safe locks where your thumb never crosses the travel path or the path of travel for that blade, so that you don't have a chance of dropping this blade onto your thumb. Luckily, with this flipper tab, you're going to hit your thumb with the flipper tab and then be able to move out of the way and just shake it down. However, if I had this knife, I'd probably remove the flipper tab and make a finger choil right there. But both of these, honestly, as I launched one of my die, are fantastic, comfortable, ergonomic, tactical EDC knives. Both are pretty dope to me, but I want to know which you prefer. Let's look at that cool pocket clip while we're doing this. Let me know which one you prefer down in the comments below. I will link both of these. I'll let you know whether or not those are affiliate links. It's up to you whether or not you use those. I hope everybody has a killer day, night, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Stay safe, stay frosty, and most importantly, stay deadly.